All
Action.
right, welcome to the season finale of Access Origins. Once again, I'm Brandon. I'm the creator of Access, and Cam and Pete are my co-executive producers with me. Tonight, we have a lot going on. First, we'll have our final four elimination. Then we'll find out who of our final three have a final two pass, and we'll get to face off in front of the jury. Then the jury will be able to ask questions. And let me get everyone in here. The jury will be able to ask questions of the final two and hear their final pitches as to why they should win and represent the season. After that, we will invite the whole cast to join us in a reunion and discuss as much as we can about what went down this season. We have secrets. Why did you do that? Things that could have happened differently, and some fun facts as well. Not to mention, we'll find out who wins this season of Access, most importantly. But before we get to tonight's episode, or as Julie Chen would say, but first, let me quickly catch you up on what has happened this season. The game started out with the players assigning each other to either the red team or the blue team, and with the blue team being safe the first round. And while the red team was destined to lose the first challenge, it also turned out they were destined to continue to lose challenges, winning only one challenge the entire season. This resulted in Turner, Alex, Steve, and Amanda being eliminated before the individual phase, along with Brady from the blue team due to Red's one victory. Steve managed to win his way back into the game, though, to kick off the individual phase. And while players were now free to work with anyone, it remained red team versus the blue team for the most part, with the blue team continuing to deal damage with Gabby and Steve getting eliminated. However, paranoia quickly set in as everyone fought to get keys to make it into the end game, leading to Louise getting eliminated as well. And when the key ceremony finally arrived, Greg ended up being the only one without a key and was eliminated. This left our final six with a mission to make it to the end and get a final two pass. But when Blue won yet another challenge, Abby made a desperate plea to save herself by giving her final two pass to Sam. But Sam stabbed her in the front and took her out anyways, leaving Rich as the last remaining red team member. And during our last elimination at the final five, Sam was left with the decision to save either Rich or Doug. And viewing Doug as the hardest person to beat in the end, decided to eliminate him and save Rich, which leaves us now with our final four. Ryan, the loyal soldier. Sam, the social accent. Steven, the hidden ace. And Rich, the red underdog. During our last challenge, Ryan won the challenge and earned the power to assign one person access to the final three and the power to shred someone's access card. And folks, this has been an exciting final four. Votes have been going all over the place, changing. It's been very exciting, and I cannot wait to see how this all plays out here. With that, let's get to some questions for our final four. Ryan, you had a big decision. You had to decide who to assign access to the final three along with the shred power, and you ultimately decided to assign it to Sam. This means he automatically advances to the final three and cannot receive a vote nor give a vote to save someone else since he's already guaranteed. But he does shred someone's vote. Ryan, how did you go about making that decision? Were you entertaining going another way?
Yeah, I like all today. I felt like I was trying to solve a mystery of like, where is this pass? Where did it go? And like, oh, okay, I think I've got it. Oh no, maybe that's wrong now. Maybe it's actually over here, and just going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I ended up making the right call or not, but what's done is done.
Mm-hmm. Rich, you're the last red team member left. Do you think the others here are still targeting you because of that, or are original teams no longer important?
I think once we got down to the final five, I don't think teams
mattered as much. However, I still have the disadvantage knowing that the blue team know each other a lot more than and are closer with each other than I am. So in that point, I still had a little bit of disadvantage. But I do think that especially when he got down to the final five, it's hey, everyone for themselves.
Mm-hmm. All right, Steven, how important are alliances at this point in the game? Are there still alliances, or is it every man for himself at this point?
I think it's some cross. I mean, I'm sure there's alliances, but alliances have changed, I feel like, throughout the entire game. So I don't feel like any steadfast group, duo, trio, quattro, pentad, whatever you want to call it. I don't think that anything like that holds true throughout the whole game because the game evolves. If you stay linear in a game like, oh, that was my dog, that was not me. If you stay linear throughout this whole game, I don't think you have a chance at 100% succeeding because the game is not linear. It's always evolving and adapting. But you do have to hold elements of that true too.
Okay, yeah, it's very true. Ryan, how do you think the jury is going to decide who wins? Do you think they're going to be bitter or vote for the best game?
Yeah, I mean that's a thing I've been wondering for a while now because like obviously Sam is in the final two and Sam has played a good game, but he's also responsible for a lot of you getting out of the game. So I don't know if you're gonna hold that against him or be like, hey, great job.
Mm-hmm. All right. And lastly, Sam, how did you go about deciding what you're going to do this round? Are you just looking to be safe or are you still, well, you've been pretty open that you may have a final two pass. What are you trying to accomplish this round?
That's a tough question. I'm trying to accomplish a goal that I've had for a while in this game, and to prove my loyalty. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, we have a lot to get to tonight, so let's dive into our first elimination here. Sam, you already have access to the final three, so congrats. And again, I'm going to one at a time reveal everyone's status of getting to the final three. If my background turns green, that means you have access to the final three. If my background turns red, that means your status currently stands as that you don't have access at the moment. If you are the only one without access, then you will be eliminated. If there are two of you without access, then the person who does have access will choose who to bring to the final three, thus eliminating the other player. All right, with that, Sam, you already are in. So let's go with Ryan. Let's go. You won the challenge. You made yourself vulnerable. Let's see if you are still safe. Ryan, your status is that you have access to the final three.
Okay, good.
Steven, your status is that you do not at the moment have access to the final three. Rich, your status is that you do have access to the final three, which means, Steven, I'm so sorry, but you are eliminated. Do you have any final words for the final three here?
Yeah. Good job, guys. That sucks. And Ryan did me dirty. Ooh.
I went back and forth a couple times, honestly, Steven.
That's okay. I don't think you're gonna. I think I'll be seeing you soon.
Okay, with that, I'm going to bump our final three back to the waiting room. All right, Steven, what happened? Why do you think you got eliminated?
Because Ryan's a snake. Man, he went back and forth because he didn't really do anything the whole game. It was so frustrating, and he did have this power, which was good. It was a good move to give it to Samurai. But in general, he went the wrong way, and he's about to join me.
Yeah, you and Sam have been tight throughout this game, and boy, I thought you guys really had this in the bag, but just with when Ryan won that challenge, things started to fall out of your grasp. Could you feel that, or what was your sense throughout the last 24 hours?
Absolutely, and I played. I mean, I've tried to sprinkle some seeds of doubt throughout the whole time with them. Yeah, I really was just hoping he would go for it, and he must have switched at the very last second, and that's okay. I mean, he doesn't know me that well, but I'm a bitter juror in all the other games. So clearly, as you guys can tell now, if for some reason he does make it, there's no way he deserves to win this game. There's Doug, me, him, and Sam. We're going through the whole thing. Ryan contributed the absolute least to the whole thing. And the only saving grace he had was Louise. We all loved Louise. And unfortunately, it's true. She deserved to have been here way further than she did. That was 100% the truth.
Oh. Okay. Well, the very important question at the moment is, did you have a final two pass? So will you please reveal that to everyone watching now? Do you have a final two pass?
I did. Yeah.
Do you right now?
No, I don't have it right now. I don't have it right now. So one last final game move. We tried to pitch it to Rich because we didn't really think Rich has been a little bit great guy. I've gotten to know Rich a little bit. I feel like Rich has been a little over his head in this game a little bit. And I think he had very strong red team members that are all here now carrying him. And he was... I don't think he has a strong, compelling argument for at all why he should win this game. And Ryan and Sam will likely beat him unless he gets grandfathered in by the former red team jury members just based off loyalty. But I really encourage you, obviously I was from the blue team, but I really encourage you to look at the whole game and not, which maybe more things happened back then, but since the individual phase, Rich is just kind of like tinkered along. And yeah, what was the question again?
Do you have the final two pass? So it sounds like the answer is no.
I don't have the final two pass. I actually just now in a final pitch, me and Sam, because Rich kind of figured it out with Ryan. They knew back and forth. Ryan kind of figured it out more so and then got Rich in on it. We tried to get Ryan to go for it. And I ended up giving my second final. I've had a final two pass for 8 rounds now. I've been holding it the entire time, and I just gave it to Sam in a pitch, so that way I could tell Ryan I don't have it. I don't. I'm not lying. I don't have it anymore. Sam had both, and Sam was going to pitch it to Ryan, and that's it. I'm just a little flustered right now. In general, Ryan and I were going to save each other. Rich was going to go, and then Sam was going to pick me, and we would be the final two. That was the last Hail Mary, a little bit from Abby's playbook, which was top notch. And then, sadly, though, Ryan didn't follow through on his side of things.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have one last question for you. Do you have anything to say to the mole?
Oh my gosh! Is this the mole, Matt?
Yes. Hello, Steven. You played a great game. You played a great game.
Oh my gosh, that's huge! That is such an honor. Wow. I just thought Maddie was this fictitious goddess that I'm like, Maddie, what should I do? And I was trying to conjure your access prowess, and
Aw.
sorry, I have not followed all the way through, but I tried.
You played a great game, Steven. I was rooting for you too. It's so hard when you're all playing so well.
Thanks.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Maddie is my wife, and she also won season 2 of Access. Large in part thanks to Abby and the Godmothers Alliance. Well, once again, thank you, Steven. And while you are out of this game, you still have a chance to be on the jury and ultimately help decide who wins the season of Access.
Perfect.
So I'm going to bring our final 3 back in. Going to remove your spotlight.
You can also tell him that Abby also thought that I was a fake too.
They can hear you, I'm pretty sure. All right. And while they come back in, where did they go? Spotlight. All right. Congrats, final 3. However, we are soon going to be the final 2. And then the final 2 will get their chance to plead their case to the jury as to why they should win the season of Access. Again, one more time, I'm going to one at a time reveal everyone's status as to who has access to the final 2. And you only have access if you currently have a final 2 pass. If Steven had one and passed it off, you do not know that you have it yet, but you will soon find out. So if my background turns green, that means you have access to the final 2. And if it turns red, that means you currently do not. If you are the only one without access to the final 2, you will be eliminated. If there are 2 of you without access, then the person with both final 2 passes will choose who they want to take to the end with them. All right, with that, Ryan, we started with you last time. Let's do that again. Ryan, your status at the final 2 is that you require access at the moment. Sam, you've been pretty vocal that you have a final 2 pass. Let's see if that's true. Your status in the final 2 is you have access granted to the final 2. You have a final 2 pass, at least. Rich, your status to the final 2 is that you do not have access at the moment. That means, Sam, you currently have both final 2 passes. Please unmute and tell us who you would like to choose to take to the final 2 with you.
Okay. This is a tough one because one of you I've built a strong friendship with throughout the entire game, and worked on a lot of the game together. One of you I've already started working with you recently. There was a plan that was made for the final 3 which wasn't carried out, which is also weighing on my mind. So, do I say who I want to bring with me, or is that right?
Yep, please choose who you're taking with you to the final 2.
Okay, so for Steven, I'm bringing Rich.
Okay, that means I'm sorry, Ryan, but you have been eliminated. Rich and Sam, congratulations on making the final 2. I'm going to send you to the waiting room once more just to do a quick interview with Ryan, and then we'll bring you back for your pitch in front of the jury. Ryan, what happened? Why do you think you got eliminated?
Hey, my screen's kind of frozen here, but hopefully you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So, like I told Steven, I kept going back and forth with it. And ultimately, I decided to side with Rich instead of with Steven because I figured the only reason for siding with Steven was just to have him get 3rd instead of 4th. And I didn't think that was worth like my chances of winning, because I figured if I sided with Rich here, then I had a better chance of Rich voting for me in the final. versus if I sided with Steven, I felt like Steven was probably already going to vote for Sam, and then Rich might also vote for Sam instead of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not think that, like Sam had said multiple times, he didn't feel like Rich deserved to be in the final. So I thought if he did take someone other than me, it was more likely to be Steven over Rich.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
But on the bright side, I don't have to make a speech now, so that's nice.
That is true. Well, without revealing anything, are you decided on who you're voting for to win tonight, or are you open to what they say?
I am not decided. I was kind of hoping this was not going to be the situation, because it's like I would like to vote for Sam, but now he just didn't take me here. So do I still vote for him or not?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that what you just did to me?
Yeah, I didn't realize you were here too.
No, I mean, it's kind of eye for an eye.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Well, thanks for your answers, Ryan. I'm going to get everything set up here for our final two. So let me remove the spotlight. Okay. Let's get the spotlight on you two.
Do that.
All right. Sam and Rich, congrats again on making it to the final two. You have come as far as you can go in this game, and your game now rests in the hands of those that you had a hand in taking out, whether directly or indirectly. First, we're going to allow those on the jury to ask a question to either one or both of you. And after everyone on the jury has had a chance to ask a question, then you will have a chance to give your final speech. After that, the jury will vote. And jury, you're voting for who you want to win. You're giving access to someone to win this season. You're voting for who you want to represent this season of Access. So, without any further ado, let's start with, let's see here. Let's start with Doug.
All right. Do I ask them both right away, or can I ask one and then the other?
Yeah, you can ask different questions to each.
Okay. Sam, we worked together for a lot of the game. I'd love to hear. So, for those that don't know, like me, Sam and Steven had alliance since pretty much the team stage. Love to hear what your biggest strategic move was separate from that alliance, like a move that you made kind of independently on your own.
Okay. The biggest one would, I can hear myself echoing, would probably be getting you out, in all honesty. Because I knew that round you were either going to be coming for me or Steven, because you knew that we both had the passes at that point. And so I had the idea to talk to Rich. Once you'd give me the ammunition of your chat with Rich, I had that. So I went straight to Rich and I said, right, Rich, Doug's just blown up exactly what you're doing. He said you're trying to get me out. He's told me, he sent me what you've said word for word, and I even read out what you said to me to prove that I had that. And then I therefore made Rich not trust you, and then told him that you had the final two pass, not Steven. And because he didn't trust you at that point, he then believed you, and then I made an alliance with Steven, Rich, and myself to therefore orchestrate it so that we would vote together and get you out.
Yeah, that's a good move. Rich, I don't know a ton about the decisions you've made this game. You've obviously gotten here to the end. I'd love to hear what your biggest move that you made was strategically that you initiated.
I mean, there was quite a few. Well, I might as well just say this. I actually had a big ace up my sleeve. Give me 1 second. So some of you may or may not know, Brandon did mention in the beginning that one of us may or may not be in a relationship. So I did
I've
have
been
my
wondering about this whole
brother kind of like took all the heat while I was in the background just being good cop, bad cop. Thanks, Abby. So that, I mean, so I was basically, a lot of times I was really, and our game was different. Like Abby's always put in the center. I just kind of like just to be more, pick up information and being off people's radar. And I think that helped a little bit. But when it was time to make a move, I think one of them was, for instance, I think Abby persuading her. I think you had made a deal with her at one point, or was trying to make a deal with her. But I need a key, and persuading her to vote for me so I can have a chance to get a key was one of them.
Are you satisfied, Doug?
So it was having Abby give you a key.
I mean, that was more than, I mean, there was obviously telling you, for instance, my whole plan. Putting myself out there was another one where I knew that Sam had already, I was already close with Sam and Steven and trying to go against them because I knew they had the final two passes and trying to have it be me, you, and Ryan. I knew that I was surprised you told Sam. I'm not going to lie, because I was like, that would have been our chance to like really, at least we would have had better odds if it was me. If two of them got eliminated as opposed to just one, but
surprised I told him what?
That I was trying to get Sam out. I thought that if the way we had that plan, the way it had voted, at least we would have had an opportunity to have me, you, and Ryan would have had an opportunity to get two passes.
Yeah, I was trying to do that as well. I was just trying to take Steven out first because he wasn't as willing to work with us as Sam was. So I thought me and Sam would get Steven out and then take Sam out. But Steven wasn't really on board with trying to get Sam out yet. But then I guess Sam got to you and convinced you that I had a pass. So
yeah.
But no, I was also trying to get us three, but I could have probably communicated that better.
Okay. You satisfied, Doug? Okay. Next up, we'll have Abby, since she's relevant at the moment. Abby, what's your question to each of them?
First for Sam. Why?
Oh my goodness me. Doug and Stephen can attest to this. I was broken up about it. I really, really was. I was and when I asked you about sending me the pass, sending me the pass, I did not think for a second you would, for one. And two, I was, when you gave it to me, I was very much like, oh God, she's giving me this. I will do this. And I went and spoke with Doug, spoke with Stephen. I said, okay, maybe we can do this, and maybe because she's shown so much trust with me, maybe I'll give it to Ryan. I don't think I can do this to Abby now because you said, don't break my heart this game, and that just completely destroyed me. So I had a conversation with them for ages, going back and forth, saying, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do this. And then we decided that, no, we need to stick with the plan. We need to stick with what the goal was at the start of the round, which was to get you out because you are the best player in this game. You would have beaten everyone here. But
Matt's
it was
the best player.
but it was honestly the hardest decision of the game for me, and it really broke me up. I felt horrendous. I was in Brandon with a test. I was in my prod chat, like really back and forth. I hated it. It was horrible. Because I generally found a friend in you, and I think we got on really well. And those calls we had, I really enjoyed you. So that was tough. But that was why it wasn't when we made the plan. I was actually on board because I was like, oh God, she's actually done this. And then after much debate back and forth, we decided to just stick with what the original plan was.
That's fair.
Do you have a question for Rich?
Yes. Who is the most beautiful fiance in the world? Don't get into this, Sam. We've already been fighting about you.
I'm assuming I won't get your vote if I said Abby to you. All right, yeah.
All right, yeah. You can do better than that, Rich.
But put this in the wedding notes.
You gotta say anything else?
Love you. Mwah.
So some of you may not know, some of you may know that season 2 ended with an engagement. Season 4 here, or season Origins, we're ending with a wedding. No, just kidding. All right. Thanks, Abby. Next up, we're gonna have Louise go. And Spotlight.
Hey, friends.
Hello, how are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm not bad, thank you. It's been a while.
I guess I would. I'm trying to think of a good question for Sam. I'll start with Rich. Okay. So, Rich, for you, what has been your overall strategy going into this game, and how has that changed as the game has continued?
Well, again, I think my overall strategy was just to kind of, for the most part, either try to win challenges and stay under the radar. I think, I am an honest person to a fault. So sometimes I think I try to use that to my advantage, where I try not to I try not to put myself in a situation where I would deceive someone so that doesn't come back to haunt me. So if there was something that I couldn't guarantee, I tried not to go that route. And I think that kind of made me more approachable. I mean, like for instance, the whole where we're supposed to vote for someone to the unanimous decision, I almost had it. And I think part of the reason why I got that far with it is because when I try not to deceive people. And if I can't promise, So I think that was for the most part of the strategy. And then it also helps that when it comes to time that you have to do it, then they don't expect it from you. So I think that was kind of...
I think that's a really strong answer. Trying to think. I guess, Sam, it's more of like a comment. Is like I was kind of surprised when I was eliminated. And I guess just trying to understand what went into that decision.
Yeah, it wasn't. I didn't want you to go at all. I had 3 people promise me, send me their votes and promise me, and promise me, and that I would save them so they have a chance at a key. And
Gotcha.
I had formed a stronger relationship with Ryan, and I'd been working close with Stephen for longer than I'd been working with you, which is why it wasn't. If I had an extra one, you would have been saved again because you'd also made that deal with me. But because I'd had a stronger relationship and been working more with Ryan and working closely with Stephen, that's why, unfortunately, you had to go at that point. But yeah, if I had another one, you would have been saved completely.
You're good. And that is 100% fair. I appreciate it.
All right. Next, we'll have Stephen go here.
Hi, fellas. My question for Rich is, why should I pick you? Me personally, and not like anyone else on the jury. Why should I do my vote?
I have to say this. I think I was very honest with that message I sent. I do think that I respect your game a lot, and I thought that you were one of the stronger players because you were just friendly with everyone. I thought you would have been the biggest threat. I even told Sam that, hey, it was smart of Ryan to do what he did because you would have been the biggest threat out of it because it was really friendly. I think you played it in a way that you tried kind of similar, where you tried not to be dishonest if you didn't have to, but you were just very personable. I think so. Going back to your question, I think you would hopefully appreciate the way that I played, where I wasn't. you know, I hate to use that word like backstabbing a lot of people, but I tried to be as truthful as I can. But when I had to, it was just because only one person can win it, and it just had to be the only choice. So, and it's surprising that I made it this far too. Like I think I'd say that it was very much an underdog, particularly, with us losing as many rounds as we did, and then when it got down to it, like I didn't know, like you guys were a lot closer, and I had to really kind of work my way in, like especially when we got to the final five and so to that.
And I feel like I was trying to work with you a lot, and the only round you really wanted to work with me was the round against Doug. Even though I was trying to like pull strings with you, trying to really pull it in. And Sam, I feel like, well, first off, why should I give you my vote as well?
I honestly feel I've played the better in the two games. I feel I fought my way to be here. I feel I wasn't taken by anyone to be here. I got a lot of blood on my hands this game. Since the main individual phase, 4 of the times I was given an extra card, which meant I had to send someone home. So I got that blood on my hands. The only time I was vulnerable was when I needed to be vulnerable to get a key. And the rest of the time, it was orchestrated so that I had the power to decide who went home each time. I knew everything that happened at every stage in the game in terms of the access ceremonies. There was nothing that was a surprise. The only thing that was a surprise was getting a key on key night, because I was shocked at that point, because I was given a key at the start of Merge. I then, as a pledge of loyalty to Stephen, gave it to him a round later. So then I wanted to secure that loyalty with him and secure a final 2 with him at that point, which is what we did and which is what the goal was. Which we got close. We didn't get that. We didn't get to the end. Yeah. But yeah. So I feel the only time I was actually vulnerable was when I made myself vulnerable on purpose, which is when I needed to get a key, and that's when I got the key. Thank you, Steve. And from then, I feel I've played an extremely loyal game. Again, I played an honest game until I had to lie, until I had to pull the strings and manipulate to get what I needed to happen. For example, in the last hour with Ryan, I wanted to do what I could to make sure that me and you both got to the final 2. So I did everything I could, even with me being safe. I didn't just sit back and think, "Oh, I'm safe. I've made it to the final 2." I tried to do what I could to make sure that we both got there, because that was the goal from the beginning, and that's where I wanted us to be. But now I was loyal to the 4 with the True Blues. I was loyal to the 3 with Doug. And if it was the final 3, that was a 3 I would have loved to be in the end with. But alas, Brandy didn't make it that way.
Sorry, Sam, the answer I was looking for was, since Rich and Abby are in a relationship, that we were in the showmance. So I'm just going to have to think about it.
Sam and I were the showmans.
We were actually. Sorry, Stephen. It was Abby and I. Sorry, Rich. We're in a throuple.
All right. I think you guys both are great, and both personally, and I wish you both the best of luck.
All right, let's have Ryan up next here.
Okay, so I guess for Sam first, and I think what Stephen was just saying kind of just confirmed this, but I'm still just want to get this straight. So Stephen did have the other pass. You did not have both of them.
He did until earlier today.
Oh, until earlier today. Okay.
And earlier today, I got that pass from him. Yeah.
Because I'm like, if he did actually have the other pass, then even if I had, gone along with the 3 of us in the final 3, then I still would have been out.
No, when we spoke this morning, he had the pass. When we spoke this afternoon, he didn't have the pass. I did.
All right then. So I guess my question for you is just like, if it had been me, you, and Stephen in the final 3, who are you taking to the final 2 with you?
I would have taken Stephen.
Okay.
And that would have been probably equaling the Abby elimination in terms of toughness, because I have developed just a friendship with you. And when Doug went, I really, really could see the potential of us getting to the end if it wasn't with Stephen. But I wanted to get to the end with Stephen. That was a goal from before the team phase ended, and that's what I would have done. So I was trying to, in that last hour or so, I was trying to get it so that it would be the three of us so that we could achieve that goal. But yeah, I would have cut you at 3, and I'm sorry, but that's what would have happened.
Yeah. And I guess just Rich, why should I vote for you?
Again, I think we had a really good conversation yesterday, and I was going to say that honestly, had it not been me, I wish it would have been you. In the sense that I think that you also had a long way to go. Like, you didn't have a pass. I know that from the message that you weren't as strong of alliance as some of the other persons. So I actually did respect, and I think we were both kind of similar. Like, I did say we were both a little bit of underdogs because we had a longer way to go, not having the pass and having to try to make something work. And I think that's yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. Alex, we'll have you up next here.
Be honest, was trying to think of a question, but I went out so early in this game. I don't really know either of you, besides obviously Rich and I were both on the red team, and I mean, Sam, I was going to put you on the blue team, so I feel like I set you up for success. So
Thank you.
a little bit my credit. But besides that, I mean, I haven't really like interacted with either of you, so if there's any, I don't know, information you haven't shared, I don't know that I have any more specific questions than what people have asked.
Just want to say it's good to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, I've never been in the stage where I have someone I've never met before asking me questions, but no, it's good to meet you. I think I think most of it's pretty much been covered for the most part on my end.
Yeah, and I'll just say on my part, Alex, it was sad. I know Abby specifically was really impressed the way with your XL on that one challenge, and we were really, and it's sad that we didn't get to play as long as you did. I think we were both trying to get Steve to save you because she was like, "Wow, that's impressive." But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a shame that we didn't get a chance to play longer, but that's all I can say. I know Abby liked you a lot.
Okay. I also enjoyed having you guys as teammates, so.
All right. Thanks, Alex. And lastly, we have Gabby here to round out our jury questions.
All right. Let's see. Rich, other than Abby, what was the most important social connection you made that got you to where you are?
I mean, I thought we were all close in terms of with the red team. So I'd say, but I think a good turning point would have been, I think what probably really got me in through that last part as well. I mean, obviously, other than you, Gabby, was Sam bringing me in for that last in the final 5 and going against Doug. I think that kind of really helped sway the title and giving me a shot.
All right. And Sam, since we never really got to talk much, what was your key what were the key connections you made?
Key connections I made. Well, obviously from the start, there was an alliance with Brady, Doug, made by Brady without really asking anyone, but with me, Brady, Doug, and Stephen. And then as soon as we got Brady out, which it needed to happen because she's lovely, but she's very chaotic at times. As soon as Brady was out, the three of us, me, Doug, and Stephen, became really, really close. I became really close with Ryan, separately as well as part of an alliance, and those alliances basically made almost every single decision in the game in terms of who went and who stayed, and where the parties were going and stuff. So yeah, they were the main connections. I didn't know anyone apart from Brady briefly. I didn't know anyone on my team, so I had to make brand new connections. And I've had a great time playing this game. I've met some awesome people.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, thank you, jury members. Before we vote, we're going to give Rich and Sam one last chance to plead their case. I'm going to give you both 2 minutes to share as much as your game, why the jury should vote for you, whatever you want to say over 2 minutes. You don't have to use the full time. When the 2 minutes is up, I will probably mute you or ask you or tell you that you're done. So, Sam, why don't you go first? And your time starts now.
Okay, first of all, I want to say, Brandon and Cameron, it's been an amazing game. I came into the game not having a clue what I was doing. I didn't have anyone there telling me how to play or anything. I had to sort of work it out for myself. I finally got to grips with what was going on. And yeah, it's been the most amazing game. I got a lot of blood in my hands. I sent home quite a few of the people on the jury, which is scary, but it's what needed to be done to further my agenda and to get the people I was working with as close as we possibly could. I played an extremely loyal game. I gave Stephen my key to ensure that he knew I was loyal and locked in with him. I also, when it came to the round before the key ceremony, I also fluttered the idea of potentially using the access card that you get on the way out, or the envelope you get on the way out, by potentially saying I would sacrifice my own game to then ensure that I could give the envelope to Stephen and Doug so that they would have control. That was a very last resort, and that was only because I knew that I didn't have a key at that point. So I was going to sacrifice my own game to ensure that my allies could then prevail and go forward with whatever was in the envelope. Luckily, that didn't have to happen. But I thought if I was going to go out by not having a key, I'd rather be in control of my own destiny and have it so I could help my allies move forward. I've played extremely loyal. I've lied only when I needed to. I've met some awesome people. I'm really, really proud of the game that I played. I think I played a very good game. And yeah, I'm really, really happy I played. So thank you very much.
Thanks. Let me start the timer for Rich. You're up. Your time starts now.
No, I just want to say this was amazing. I mean, I had a lot of fun playing this game. First time. I am as far as my game, I'm just really proud of the way I did it because again, I think I played it a way where I didn't really have to backstab anyone too much and still got pretty far. I think what kind of helped me a little bit was I think a lot of people underestimated me, which, fair. Like I even I remember talking to Sam a little bit that choosing me over Ryan, thinking that I would probably be the better odds. So I think that, in a way, the fact that I made it this far, didn't have a pass, and had to then align myself with the blue team. Again, I'm just really proud of that. That the way I was able to play. No matter what happens, I enjoyed playing with everyone. Again, this is my first time, and it's been really fun. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right, jury. It is time for you to send in your votes. Again, remember, you're voting for who you want to win. Who do you think deserves the title of the winner of Access Origins? You can send that either in your Discord confessional chats or to me directly in the Zoom here. And I'll give you a moment to do that.
Good job, Rich.
Votes.
When's the wedding?
June 21st. Brandon's performing the ceremony.
That's amazing. Are we duetting, Abby, at the wedding? Yeah.
Oh my God! Can you fly here for the wedding? It will be a will they, won't they situation,
I'll just come and stop the wedding. How about that? It should have been me.
I need you to know that for 3 weeks you have been like, or since we started playing together, in my household, I constantly have been like, well, his accent is just and Rich would be like,
sorry, Rich. Well, I'm still down for that throuple. Just let me know.
It's really ideal for me that it's your final two.
Oh,
But what a hard
uh,
choice.
imagine if you voted for me. That'd be hilarious. when she's across the room from you, Rich.
So I wouldn't be surprised. Abby with an accent like that. Uh,
Well, I'll take you to my British accent teacher, Rich, and you'll be fine. Brandon's trying to do quick math.
Still waiting for some votes to come in, and I think we just got the last one.
24 votes for Rich, 24 votes for Sam.
Well, there's only 7 votes, so you need 4 to win. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's reveal who everyone voted for. Go away. Something's trying to get me to click on something. All right. So, jury members, I'm going to ask you to reveal your vote publicly. And you are free to say why you voted for who you wanted to if you want. You don't have to. You can just say the name. So, first, we'll go with Alex. So go ahead and unmute. Let me try to spotlight you. And say who you voted for, and you can include why if you want.
Okay, so I'm just saying the name. I will say out of when it was the top 4, the 4 possible combinations, this was the combination that was going to be the toughest for me, just because there were some other people I for sure didn't want to win for other reasons. But I ended up going with Rich.
Okay, that's 1 vote Rich.
So yes.
Okay, that's 1 vote Rich. Gabby, you're next. Who did you vote for? And you can say why.
This is a tough one because you're both amazing players. I love you both. But gotta stick with my day 1 alliance. Rich, I voted for you.
Okay, that's 2 votes for Rich. Louise, you're next.
I voted for Sam because I think Sam's game overall was very thought out, and even though he didn't give access to me, I think he had the stronger game overall.
Okay. With that, next we have Abby. If I can find her. I wonder who Abby voted for.
This was a tough one because I also like to irritate Rich, so I almost voted for Sam just to annoy him. But I did vote for Rich for a piece of my household.
Okay, that's probably wise. All right, that's 3 votes for Rich, 1 vote for Sam. Doug, who did you vote for?
So at the final 5, I realized the only way I would get to the end would be to take Steven and Sam out. I laid out all the info I knew to Rich, told him exactly who had what passes, and it sounds like within minutes, Sam manipulated him and made him get me out. So for that reason, I gave my vote to Sam.
Okay, that's 3 votes for Rich, 2 votes for Sam. Steven, you're next.
I have to commend both of you. Did great. Rich, I do think we had some similarities for sure in terms of the honesty, but I had to go with my guy Sam. I wouldn't have even made it past the key ceremony without him. So he sacrificed his key for me, and that was the turning point for me to make him my final 2.
Okay. That means we have 3 votes for Rich, 3 votes for Sam, 1 vote left from Ryan.
Oh, why are you making this come down to me?
I just did it in order of elimination, so you were the last one eliminated.
Okay. Oh, man. Okay, so I've been sitting here like, should I be bitter about this, or should I not? You know, the thing Sam is worried about here. And ultimately, I decided that not to be bitter and that Sam played a better game, and I voted for Sam.
Which means congratulations, Sam. You have won the first season of Access. How do you feel?
Shocked, surprised, and yeah, from not having a clue about this game, about how it works for like the first 3 rounds. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Not even the people that didn't vote for me, because you guys are awesome. I had a great time getting to know you guys, and thank you to those who voted for me. I'm a bit speechless. Thank you.
Okay. Well, next we have our reunion, where we're going to go over a bunch of stuff that happened throughout the game. Let me remove the spotlight and have everyone visible here. If anyone that was eliminated earlier in the game is watching and wants to jump in, the Zoom details are in the Discord. Look in the announcements thread. You can jump in here. First off, I'm just really curious. And so I want to jump to the jury shred vote, because this was a 1 vote difference of who ended up winning the game. So I wonder if that 1 vote might have changed things. Steven, do you have any light to shed on that?
What?
I'm sorry.
Oh.
It was me. I got the jury shred. Sam, I thought it was going to be you and me in the final 2, and I thought it would come down to 1 vote between you and I. And so I wanted you in the final 2 with me, but I thought it would be split. And I thought Amanda would give you her vote 100%. And so I had to take her out of it.
Not mad at you anymore, Ryan. You did the right thing, Ryan.
Sam, do you think you would have gotten Amanda's vote if she had been here?
I don't know, because every time I've been in a finale and she's voted before, she's never voted for me. So, I don't know. But out of the options, she was the one I thought I had the best chance at. So maybe.
Well, we did ask her, given the final 4, who would you vote to win out of the 4 of them? And she said Rick, which I'm assuming she meant Rich. So,
thanks, Steven. Love you.
See, I helped you win this game.
I take it back again.
I was looking out for you.
You had all that hindsight. Yeah, you had all that forward thinking. Yeah, thanks.
So, Rich, you are 1 jury shred vote away from winning this game. How are you feeling right now?
Listen, again, I'm surprised I made it this far. I don't know the jury shred vote. If I'm not mistaken, I think were they all red that got who did Amanda, or which spot would have Amanda gotten?
Well, it just depends. She would have had to have taken let's see, she would have had to taken Louisa's spot.
Louisa's. Oh, so maybe that probably would have, yeah. But overall, I'm glad I made it this far. It was fun either way. I presented my best case, so I can't be too bitter about that. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it was a well played, on Steven's part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, speaking of powers and keys and final 2 passes that were in this game, for those of you I want to just highlight some of the things that happened with those. So Brady obviously won the jury shred power during the speed memory competition. That was very public and everyone knew about that. From there, no one really knew what happened to it. Since Brady was not officially out of the game until the buyback challenge, Brady kept the jury shred until she lost that challenge, and then decided to give it to Steve. And then Steve ultimately passed it on to Steven when he was eliminated. So that's what happened there.
Steve had all the goodies.
Yes, definitely. Steve, I see you're maybe trying to jump in there. Do you have anything to say about that?
Not a lot to say. It was actually a quick decision. I had to do something. But I kind of figured at the end of this game, there's people I didn't play with and people I played with. but I'm sure you'll probably get to it. But like I think I gave the last envelope to Sam and a key to Rich, and I figured to throw the jury shred at random, and I gave it to Steven. So
Thank you, Steve. I wouldn't even got past that if it wasn't for you. So thank you.
Yeah, Steve, why did you give the envelope to Sam instead of just give both of them to Rich? Give both the keys to Rich, and then hopefully the red team can do what they
Well,
want with it.
I didn't know what the last envelope was at first, but I was like, you know what? I didn't get a chance to make full connections with a lot of people in the game, and I figure at some point, like maybe I'll just try to give some people a bit more of a chance in the game. I did think about like just throwing everything on Rich because we were definitely playing right from the beginning. But I was like, if I had to talk to these new players from the blue side, I felt like I had decent conversation with Steven, and I was like, you know what, maybe I should give some to him and see where it goes with that. Like I had no idea what the jury shred would have led to. Um, and in my final, if I had to cheer for a two, it was actually looking at Steven and Rich to see if they made the final. So that was kind of another direction of why I kind of divvied it up between that manner. But obviously, I can see how it changes the game a bit too. So pretty wild. But like I say, first time playing, I enjoyed it. I didn't know what I was doing for half of it, but it was fun.
Well, while we're still on you, let's talk about that free pass power. Do you want to share what happened with that?
I guess for being voted out, coming back into the game, I got the free pass, and it kind of came a little convenient for me because throughout the game so far when I was playing, there was one night I had to be out at a fundraiser, and it was that night, and I was like, do I just use it so I can stay in this game, or do I kind of place it on someone else so they can be more safe? But then at the same time, I was like, I don't have enough time to keep conversation going to see if I can stay out and last in this game. Because coming back, I thought it was definitely, maybe a good turn, maybe something I can stay longer in this game and see where it goes. But knowing that I couldn't hold on to it, it had to be played that end of the day kind of thing. I was like, you know what? Because I'm a little fluttered, I didn't have time to talk to a lot of people, and I just figured I wanted to stay in the game, so I played it for myself.
Yeah, which honestly was a smart decision, given where you were at in the game. However, let me just explain the boomerang that kind of happened with that, because by playing it on yourself, Gabby ended up being vulnerable and going home. If you had not have played it on yourself, Rich's vote was shredded that round. And therefore, if Rich and Abby had exchanged and you and Gabby would have exchanged, Abby would have gone home that round. And then you would have been in the prime spot on the red team of Gabby trusting you the most and Rich trusting you the most. And that would have likely put you through the final six, even with one or two of the other reds being eliminated. So even though you saved yourself that round, it kind of came back around because it put the power in the Abby Rich boat rather than the Steve Gabby boat. Do you have thoughts or reactions to that?
It's interesting to hear it that way because I'm like, what? It's kind of crazy. But like I say, it was one of those things like, how do I play it? Because when I was given that stuff, like even given the jury shred, I'm like, I got to make sure I kind of play this in a good manner that hopefully will help me and help my red team. We were falling apart, so I had to try to keep us alive as much as we can. And unfortunately, we just kind of faded off the grid. But I just wanted to try to do something like if I maybe knew more about the game, I probably could have tried something more. But I don't know. I like new games, and it's kind of interesting to hear how that could have spun around. But unfortunately, Gabs had to go too. But like I said, I can't call it. I just wanted to be safe. So if it was someone on the blue, it would have been a little better for us. But that's how it rolled out. So
Yeah.
something to learn too.
Yeah. Well, going back to the keys and final two passes here, I'd love to explain how Abby actually got her first key. And it's actually all thanks to Steven. Steven, there was a round in the game where you got a little bored and you decided to ask the viewer lounge to vote for one of four doors. And they didn't know what was behind the doors. But the door that ended up being voted for ended up being Abby's door, which meant that you cast your shred vote for Abby, making her eligible for a key. And I forget who got eliminated that round. Whoever was eliminated that round ended up giving it to her. That was Amanda. Ended up giving her the envelope, which had a key. How do you feel about giving Abby, the biggest player in the game, a key to the end game?
I mean, I wasn't bored per se, but at the same time, like, it was getting a little predictable. I was trying to build relationships with the red team. Honestly, oh yeah, Steve's still here. Like, Steve was the only one I was actually wanting to really talk to me. And I wasn't fully lying when I thought I was on the bottom of the blue, because I knew Ryan and Louise were a super tight duo, and me, Doug, and Sam were a good trio, but Greg also was kind of like talking a lot, and then Doug started to talk more to them, and he kind of didn't talk as much to me. So I was like, oh, I think I'm falling down. Maybe, and I didn't do anything, like, I just made it all random, and I was like, I'm gonna just try to build relationships with the other side. And that's what my strategy started to switch over to, was to integrate all about relationships and talk a lot more with the red team. And Abby and I connected, and it just happened to land on Abby. And then I was like, oh shit. Oh, sorry, I don't know if I can say it, but I was like, I have to shred Abby, and it's going to give her access possibility for a key. That was the round that it ended up being 4-1 when I think we all were going to shred, I don't know, someone on that side. But then I knew Greg, I think it was, also was going to deviate a little bit too. So I was like, well, that will also spread those seeds of doubt, and no one's going to really think it's me. And it ended up working in Abby's favor. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then just to follow the final two passes, Alex, when she was eliminated, ended up giving out the first final two pass to Gabby. When Gabby was eliminated, thanks to the free pass being played on Steve, Gabby ended up giving her final two pass to Abby. And then obviously Abby gave hers to Sam in that deal. The other one, when Gabby was also eliminated, she gave out the other final two pass envelope to Steven. Steven, you must have been so thrilled when you got that final two pass, weren't you?
Absolutely not. I was pissed, actually. No, I was okay. So we knew the key ceremony was going to be coming up. Like, we thought it was the next round, and I was still in need of a key. And so we had this elaborate plan, and it was going to be grand, and I was going to end up getting an envelope or getting a key out of it. And so all went well. And then I got an envelope, and it didn't have a key in it. It had a final two. I was like, oh my God, like, this sucks. I'm going to be eliminated with this thing in my hand. And this is like the most powerful thing. And I'm just going to be like locked out of mid round because I can't, and I won't be able to use it. So my initial gut reaction was, what do I do now? And then actually Sam came to my saving grace, and he actually gave me his only key. And it was like, that was the move to me that took Sam and me. He was my ride or die from that point forward, because he was willing. Like, he mentioned it in his little closing remarks, but I don't know if people really, like, there was so much that was said too. But that's how I advanced, and that's how I was like, I'm taking this guy to the end regardless. And that's when I decided I was going to have to break my final two with Doug. But then Doug also was trying to snipe me too. So then it ended up being fine. I didn't feel remorseful about it.
but I was just like, no, like that was it. That sold it for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sam, what motivated
I'm
you
in
to
there.
give up your? Oh, sorry, is someone trying to jump in?
Yeah. So that round where Steven got the envelope from Gabby, that round I was considering. So like Steven and I both put our votes on Sam. So we were both, the two of us were eligible for envelopes.
Mm-hmm.
I had considered switching my vote to Steven so that I was the only one eligible for an envelope that round, and then I would have had that final two pass. But ultimately, I was like, no, I already said I was giving to Sam. I don't want to go back on my word this early in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would have been pretty wild. Sam, what motivated you to give your only key, your life into the end game, to Steven?
I wanted to secure with Steven that I was with him 100%, and that I wanted to just. I know it was a risk because I was without a key. I wanted to show that this is how loyal I am to you. This is you're the person I want to get to the end with, and I knew by doing that, it's like giving an idol to someone. I knew by doing that you are securing and showing with action rather than just words your trust and your loyalty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Meanwhile, Doug was sitting with you guys in your alliance, crossing his fingers, it seemed like in some points, hoping that Steven would actually go home and give the final two pass to him.
Well, yeah. So at some point, obviously, we knew there was a final two. I knew Steven had the pass. I was like, man, like, and this whole time, I didn't know Sam and Steven kept that a secret for me that Sam gave him the key,
Mm-hmm.
which is funny now because I remember I thought we were keeping one thing going with us and then another thing with Ryan, and that he didn't know where it was, but in reality, I didn't know. So anyway, but yeah, I was like, okay, well, when we were trying to get a key, I was really trying to get a key that last round before the key ceremony. I had won the challenge and was trying to get a key for Steven, which apparently was for Sam. And I was like, well, if this doesn't work out, Steven will just go home and he'll give the final two pass to either me or Sam. So I was like, if it happens, it happens. Turned out it worked, and Sam got the envelope from Steve. Yeah, but they definitely kept that for me, which was smart. And then just a little more into like our three alliance. Eventually, like I did realize, all right, it's only a final two. I got to make something happen. Final five, I really tried with Rich. Like I said, I told him exactly where all the passes were, completely honest with him. And my problem was that I trusted Sam a little too much in that as well to work with me there. And that's what ended up Sam was pretty easily able to go to Rich and convince him not to do it. But yeah, like in a final three, I do think me, Sam, and Steven would have held the whole way, but we just didn't have that choice.
I really did admire your honesty. You're like, this is what I want to do. I know I need to take you or Steven out this round. I know I don't know which one I don't know which one I'm going to take out. I'm like this at work. I tell my boss I'm looking for jobs. I'm like, I've never seen that strategy before, and it did bite on the ass. But it was so cool.
Yeah. It was like I had nothing else to do. It was either settle for third or just go all out. I do want to ask you too, when you pitched me the idea of you taking yourself out, was that real? Like, 'cause I remember I was trying to really convince you not to, and I feel like I kind of talked you off the cliff there.
It was to an extent, as in it was a way of me showing my loyalty to you guys, like completely. I'm willing to sacrifice my game for you guys. It was a last resort, but it was only because I knew I didn't have a key, and I knew the key ceremony was coming up. So I knew that if I was going to go out anyway, I'd rather go out and help you guys on the way out.
Yeah.
But luckily that didn't have to happen. I got a kid. I was so surprised when I got that key. Goodness me, my face said it all. I was ready to go.
Yeah. And I still thought Steven was the one who got it because I never knew. Yeah. About that dish.
Yeah. But you guys ended up all making it, and then shenanigans took place later on. Transitioning gears a little bit, I want to shift over to Ryan. I know he has potentially some work commitments coming up here. Ryan, I have a little bit of information for you. almost every
Okay.
single.
Yeah, I feel like I'm learning I was much more on the outside than I thought I was.
Oh yes, yes, very much so. You were very much you were part of the blue circle, but very much on the outs. And pretty much every single round you were vulnerable, you were a hairbreadth away from being eliminated every single time, but somehow squeaked through. During the team phase, when the red team won their one challenge, Gabby and Steve were very adamant we should take Brady out. However, what they don't know is that Rich had this advantage that he had gotten at the beginning of the game, which was an extra shred vote. And this extra shred vote meant that if him and Abby decided to use this ability, they would have the majority of 3 votes to 2 to shred Louise in order to take you out. Abby and Rich, do you want to speak to what happened there?
Yeah, I personally wanted to keep the red team united, and I don't think it would have been good if we all said and to vote for Doug. I know Abby thought Ryan was a threat, and I get that. But at the end of the day, I think it was more of a team unity, in my opinion, which I want to keep with the red team. Let's not, because then it would have been obvious that, hey, we can't trust each other if we can't even at that early in the stage. That's my point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And I like chaos. And I knew Ryan was talking against me since the beginning, and I was trying to take you out.
Honestly, Abby, I wasn't really talking about against you that much until individual phase.
Similarly, Abby was a hairbreadth away from winning that first individual challenge. And Abby, you were talking about, it seemed like you would have targeted Ryan, probably shredding Louise again. Do you feel like that's correct?
That sounds right. Usually I stick with one target for a long time.
So once again, there you potentially could have gone home. It's not guaranteed, but it was up there. When the next round, when the eliminated players shredded, which was a hot mess, by the way, the eliminated players did not talk at all. They did not strategize at all. And so they all voted for a different person on the blue team, which meant that it ended up going to a wheel, the 3 red people and the 2 blue people on a wheel to see who had ended up getting shredded. Steven ended up getting his vote shredded that round. Somehow. This was the round of the wheel, as we'll get to a little bit more later. But when they shredded, Ryan was actually the talked about target by the 3 Keys Alliance, Doug, Sam, and Steven. But at the last minute, took out Louise instead. Sam, do you want to speak to that? You had the deciding choice there. Do you remember what changed? It seemed like you guys were talking all day about we have to get Ryan out, and then at the last minute, it switched to Louise.
Yeah, it wasn't that much of a concrete plan to get Ryan out. It was just or maybe we could be chaotic and get Ryan out. But nothing was really set in stone. And the plan was going into it that I would get all the votes, that I would have an extra vote, meaning right if I had Steven's vote, then Louise, I would have saved you. But because Steven got shredded, that didn't happen. So the plan was just to stick with the Blues and keep everyone around. But we did talk about the idea, but it wasn't like it was an all-day thing. I don't think it was like a four message thing.
Yeah,
don't exaggerate, Brandon.
I thought we were gonna take Greg out there if we had the choice. I could be wrong, but I remember that popping up too.
That was a later round when Greg
was it. Okay.
That was the next round. Yeah,
that was next round. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of the final 8, what I don't think Steven told anyone this, but Steven was very much treading water underneath. He was like a duck calm on the top, but underneath he was just treading water the whole time, just going fast and furious. At the final 8, Steven, do you remember this plan to get Ryan out?
That I was going to get Ryan out?
Yeah.
Oh, I just remember
Ryan tried to get me out at some point, and then I was like, okay, he said my name once. I've got to get him out at some point in time. But Sam, you told Sam to vote for me out, so you would get my envelope, I think, or something like that. I don't know.
When it was between Valise and Steven, Sam said that Ryan said,
Oh, yes.
take out
yes.
Steven, save Valise. And Sam told us that right away. So Steven was pissed at you.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, who would that?
Yeah, so Steven had a plan for him and Sam, since all the votes seemed to be congregating towards Sam's direction, for him and Sam to just snipe Ryan to get his key, and was going to enact it. However, Steven was very busy that day, and Doug then proposed this plan to take out Greg instead. And so he decided last minute to roll along with the Greg plan, take out Greg plan, instead of taking out Ryan. Do you think that was still the right move, Steven, or do you wish you had enacted your plan instead?
I mean, I never knew where Greg lied. You know, I felt like Greg was all over the place. And I could attest to busy schedules too. Like I would have periods of days where I would be super inactive for the entire day. And I'm like, oh my, like today, for example. And he had forewarned all of us that he was super busy, but it also seemed like he was talking a lot with everyone. And Greg also was saying, once we merged, all right, it's game on now. And I was like, who are you? Like, what is going on? I didn't know, but if it was Brian or Greg, to be honest, I didn't really care if it was either of them, because I knew neither of the one of them were probably going to take me that far. So I was like, okay, if they want to go Greg, that's fine, because Doug was in with Greg more. So I felt like Doug was probably getting more information from that.
Mm-hmm.
That was the Abby plan too. When Doug tried to get Abby involved.
Oh, but the Abby plan, no, that was ridiculous, you guys. I don't know what the hell you were thinking. No offense for my French, but they wanted, when Abby came out with this Hail Mary, which was a great idea to save her, right before the ceremony, Sam, Doug, and I have a chit chat, and they're like, let's keep Abby and snipe Ryan this round.
Abby, we tried.
What the hell? What? No, are you crazy? Like,
yeah, so
a goddess, the whole kingdom, if you do that. And then I was like, no, we have to take Abby out. So Abby, Sam had to break your heart, but I'm the one that told him to do so, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, just
told you it was so hard. I was literally in agony. It was horrible. I was talking to
Abby would have won. I think if she would have made one more round, she would have won the game.
And just to give context, this is at the final 6 you're talking about, when Abby made the deal to give Sam her final 2 pass in exchange for him keeping her and Rich was the deal, and to take out Doug or Ryan. And Sam and Doug, you both seemed open to this.
Yeah, because we sort of had a consensus that whoever won the challenge that round would like have the say in what happened that round. So when Doug would won the round before, Doug pretty much was in charge of who went home. And then we said, because it was Steven's week, Steven had just won that round.
We ultimately said I think if it was up to me and Sam, we would have tried to keep Abby in there, but we wanted to defer to Steven since he won the challenge with the cups. And like, all right, if Steven wants to go ahead, and we'll do it. You know.
Yeah, because
I do want to backtrack real quick too, though, to the round you were at, Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what it was that sent me towards pushing Greg instead of Ryan?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, yes. There's so much to unpack in the final 8. There was so much that happened. Sure, we can go back to that. So
just real quick, because it sounded pretty interesting.
So at the final 9, just to give context for this, Abby got this extra access card. I was going to throw to Greg here, but he's not here. So just to give context for this, Greg was very busy that day, and he had texted me that he was giving his vote to Sam. However, I also was very busy that day, did not see his text. His vote was not in Discord, which is where it's supposed to be, and so we did not count it, which meant his vote ended up going to a wheel. That was the second wheel of the night. because the eliminated players
That was
couldn't decide
true.
it.
Yeah.
So his vote ended up going to Abby thanks to the wheel. What you all don't know is that Doug, as a captain, got another power. Doug?
Yeah, so I had the power to leak who somebody's vote went to. And I wasn't going to use it because I thought it'd be public and I thought Greg would be pissed at me. But I talked to Greg and he adamantly was like, nope, I gave it to Sam. I gave it to Sam. Didn't give it to Abby. Even though he knew it didn't go to Sam, he still kind of, he was afraid that we'd get upset at him. So without Greg knowing, I used the power and Brandon confirmed his vote gave to Abby. So I'm like, all right, now you're just boldly lying to me to my face, and I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell you or Steven. I didn't tell Greg that I knew for sure. I just like, listen, guys, I know Greg's lying to us. But it turns out he really could technically didn't try to cross us at all. But if he just come clean about it and said, hey, I didn't get my vote in, it went to a wheel, we probably would have taken Ryan out there. But Greg just doubled down on it and kept lying about it.
Was
And
that
it ended up getting him out.
Was that the round Louise went?
Yeah. So that was when the wheel went, and
So-
we're
so-
how did Abby get a vote?
Is the
So
wheel's
at the
fault that
final
you went
nine-
Louise?
At the final 9, Louise ended up going, which is
Oh,
when
no.
his vote went random. And then at the final 8, you guys were wanting to take out Greg because he was lying to you all about what happened with his vote, which I think he was trying to weaponize that vote to try to sow distrust amongst the other people on the blue team.
What would have happened if his vote went to Sam that round? Who would have would that have
I would have
changed
saved Louise.
anything?
I would have saved Louise.
But who would have went home, Brandon? Do you know? Because
So
Abby also had an extra vote.
yes, but
So she
Abby
would have
ended
been
up
safe
saving
still.
Greg.
So Greg would have gone home.
So Sam would have taken Greg out instead of Louise.
Oh my god! So Greg
Yeah.
stayed to a wheel.
Yeah, the wheel saved Greg.
Yeah, it saved him for a round.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway, I thought that was a fun little side
That's
story.
crazy. That's cool.
mhm. Yes. So, and then speaking of people that likely would have gone home earlier if things were different, Sam, if the blue team had lost earlier, I kind of think you would have been the first one out.
I agree.
Especially if you had lost that second challenge, the passcode challenge. I think you might have been eliminated there.
No.
You early on were still really getting a grasp of how does this game even work? What do these things mean? You're throwing all this terminology at me. You, I think, got an alliance with Brady, Doug, and Steven, and you were supposed to exchange votes with Brady, but Brady was clearly going to get shredded. And if things had stayed the way they did, then you likely would have been eliminated the first out on the blue team.
Yeah, no. The game started at a really awkward time because I had a really crazy week with work as well. So I was trying to get to grips with everything while having zero time to talk to people, and it was the most difficult start I've had. And I did lots of catch up, but I caught up eventually. but yeah, no, that was crazy.
Yeah, and it wasn't until the next round where when the blue team did lose, I think it was it was the next round as you were preparing for potentially the blue team might lose in the future that Doug and Steven really started to reel you in wanting to take out Brady at some point rather than letting Brady and you exchange votes. And that was really the difference that really helped you get footing in this game.
Yeah,
I do remember, at least on my end, is I had pulled day one. I was like, Steven doesn't know anybody near the game. Let me grab Steven in. And I do think because Sam was so distant that he was a potential target of ours.
Mhm.
And we wanted to work with Brady too. And then she just kind of got more and more loose. And at least for me though, even that day that we got Brady out, probably the beginning of the day, I think I was going to take out Sam.
Mhm.
Was at that morning, I was like, yes, Sam's don't really know him. He's in a different time zone. I'm taking Sam out. And then Brady just kind of went more and more crazy as the day went. And I was like, I can't work with that.
Yeah,
And,
she insisted on the edge strategy for Battleship. and
Yeah, that
seemed-
rubbed me the wrong way.
That kind of seemed to be the final straw for Brady.
Yeah. Ryan remembered that. Yeah. She was just bulldozing her way with the strategy.
Brady had also, after the first two eliminations, claimed that it was lame that the red team was just taking out the newer people that didn't really know anything about the game. Gabby, was that really what was happening on the red team?
Actually, no. Brady made a questionable. Y'all guys made a questionable move by trading my vote the second round, because I had actually given my card to Alex. So if my vote wasn't shredded, Amanda would have gone by default.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Alex, you would have been in the game a lot longer if it wasn't for that one round. How do you feel about that?
I was a little mad after being eliminated, being new. Yeah, wasn't in the game very long, and there were just two things. I don't think Steven remembers this, but I'll be honest, you were in the final two. I would not have voted for you because the very first challenge, you said you were new. Everyone was nice to you, put you on the blue team, and then you turned around and immediately put me on the red team. So I was extremely bitter about that. And was like, okay, he's not trustworthy. Says one thing to get people on his side, immediately put someone in the same boat as him on the red team. I was like, okay, noted. And then, as kind of Rich alluded to earlier, I was a really big asset during the challenge, and then they immediately voted me off. So I kind of after that, I was like, fine, good luck, red team. Didn't really expect them to win after that, and they didn't. So it was kind of a series of like three not great, three unfortunate events in a row was my experience with this game. So it wasn't, to be honest, it wasn't awesome.
Well, I just want to clarify, Alex, your team did not vote you out because, as Gabby said,
No. I
your
know
team
it
tried
wasn't
to
on
save the game.
purpose. I'm just saying in the moment, like these three things build up really close to each other. So like my mental state at the moment was very angry. I have since then calmed down, and I know they didn't try to get me out, but I was just that's where I was in that time, and it wasn't great. But I know it was not on purpose because Abby was very, very nice in voting me onto the jury because she was sad to see me go. So I know they did not try to get me out.
That was actually another point where I just barely survived when Steven was in that first challenge saying, well, there's only one person I haven't seen in the main chat of the Discord yet. I'm like, crap, that was me because I haven't posted anything today yet. And then he's like, Alex, like, oh, okay, I'm safe.
Yeah, that was my fault because I didn't know who had said. I knew someone had said that they also were new and they didn't, and I didn't realize it was Alex. When I was on the Zoom, I didn't have all of the little tiles pulled up and the little green thing, and so I was like, someone just said it, and all I remembered was it was Alex. You can look through my prod chats if you want. I felt like the biggest dick, and honestly, that was my biggest regret of this game, was because that was not my intention at all, Alex. So I am sorry I contributed to you actually. And then I was like, oh my God, she went home because of me. And I'm like, I didn't even intend, I didn't want any new people to go home right away at all. I wanted, if anything, I wanted the new people to band together, but I screwed that up. So I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, Alex, you did not go out. You went out swinging because at one point during that round, you were going to get Abby, Steve's, and Gabby's vote to stay in the game. And you likely would have been the person determining who was going to get eliminated. So you definitely fought hard. And you were very much, and everybody recognized, we can't get Alex out because she carried us through this challenge. We're going to have more challenges like this. We can't get her out. Steve, the plan was to get Amanda out, and then all of a sudden Alex was out because of you. Why change it up at the last minute?
Just kind of hoping that question would come up. I think it was towards the beginning of the game. I think Gabby and Amanda and I really kind of bonded together, and it was really hard because I was like, Alex playing a really good game, but I had this group of three, and I was like, do I hold on to it? Do I change it up? The hardest thing was that I think in this game is voting people off on your own team, and that really sucked. And I think I might have kind of viewed that. If anyone was watching that live, I think I took 10 minutes trying to decide on a name, and literally like I was about to say the name, like no wait, I can't do that, and I changed it, and I changed it and changed it and changed it, and I think I just had to kind of roll with it. At a name. So I don't know, like I do feel bad for that, obviously. Um, but that was the hard part of the game. Just, and like I think the first few rounds I was getting the extra access cards. I'm like, why do I gotta pick this stuff? Like I don't want to be part of telling someone to go off the game. And then it happened again, and I was like, oh my God, like I don't want this to happen again. Sure enough, I got voted off, so it did happen again. But yeah, it was not fun. It wasn't pleasant. Was it the right choice? I don't know. But at one point, I was just like, I figure I just had to stick to that three. We talked to good points of some game there. But yeah, sorry, Alex. But nothing game wise, or just like I don't know, strictly game, but not nothing towards you or anything like that. Like you were still rocking a good game. It was just a hard choice.
Yeah, shifting gears a little bit, Louise, we haven't really gotten to talk to you much during this reunion yet. During the team phase, Blue Team talked a lot about who you should target, and Brady obviously pushed a lot for Amanda, Steve, and Brady and Gabby. But you and Ryan, to some extent, also talked, and Doug, those of you that knew Abby, were also talking about Abby as a target. Why did you not push for Abby as a target? Why did you go along with what Brady wanted?
What? So you said why did we go along with what Brady wanted?
Yeah, or why did you not push Abby as the target instead? Were you hoping to work with her in the future, or not really?
I knew Abby was a strong player from playing in the past, and I knew she was a threat, but also wanted to keep her around for a little bit longer because she's a good player, and like it makes things more interesting. I didn't know Brady, but at the same time, kind of letting her think she was in charge for a while, I think gave her a false sense of security, and it kind of became clear, at least at first, she was the odd man out on the Blue Team because it all seemed like we were on the same page and she was kind of out in left field. And so it kind of made sense to keep Abby around. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you were kind of just letting Brady portray herself as the leader of the group, and meanwhile distancing herself from the rest of the team, kind of a sense.
In some ways, yeah, I think absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just chime in quick too. I think we also just weren't sure who was aligned with who. So I know there was some thought that Gabby, Amanda, and Abby might have been working together. And there was some thought that we might be indirectly targeting Abby as well. We just didn't really know who to go after.
I feel like that first elimination, the first couple are always the hardest because you don't know people super well or who's working with who. So I think Doug's right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Going back to Rich, something you may or may not know is that you almost voted yourself out twice. At the final 8, you had originally voted for Steve, and Abby was fighting you all day that you had to vote for her. And finally, at like the last few minutes, you listened to her and changed it. And similarly, at the final 5, you were going to vote for Doug and told Ryan that. Then Ryan switched who he was shredding because he wanted Rich out and wanted somehow to get a chance at your final 2 pass that you didn't have. And so he switched to shredding Doug's vote, which meant you would have been the only one without access had Sam not have gotten to you and told you everything that Doug was doing. Do you have any reactions to that?
You're welcome.
Like I said, honesty to a fault. I know I do like when Abby did that, and because I didn't need the key for the first one, I needed the key and I didn't have it, and then Abby then having 2 votes and saving me helped a lot with that. As far as the final 5, I was willing to put it all out there because I knew that had me, Doug, and Ryan not worked together, then we would have had no shot. So I think that was more of a gamble that I was willing to. If I had gone out in that round, I'd have been okay with it because with yeah, I knew 3 against 2 that would have been a best shot, and so I was more okay with the second one. I was dumbing out. Yeah, I mean Abby, I gotta give kudos to Abby for that one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still, if I could ask Rich, I'm still a little confused what happened at that final 5. Did you not believe me when I said Steven had the pass, or like what? I'm still kind of confused what happened there.
I knew Steven had the pass. The plan was, if I give you my vote, you decide and you tell Ryan. So I assume that you were closer with Ryan. You know, you can either eliminate Sam. I think I don't know if you could see Steven or Sam. You know, I'd give you my vote. You guys are sorted because you both know that they have the final 2 passes. Yeah. I think what shocked me is that Sam came to me and told that you said everything, which would completely ruin the whole idea. And I was like, well, you know,
okay, yeah.
It's almost like playing for third at this point because now we only have like Sam has this pass for another round. And now only one person would have a chance to, as opposed to me, you, and Steve or Ryan had together. It would have been like.
I should have told you I was going to say. I thought me, you, and Sam were going to work together to get Steven out that round, because we would have had to, and then the next round we would get Sam out. But I should have explained that part better to you.
But I thought that even had we gotten Sam out, we would have had the numbers to get Steven out if we had made that alliance, you know. Because then as long as one of us wins a challenge, and Ryan ended up winning both of them, we would have had the numbers. We know where the last pass is, and then that at least would have been. So that was kind of where, once that plan went out, I was just like, well, you know, I have no other choice but to survive this round. Vote with Sam, and have that be the case.
Yeah, gotcha. Doug, you watched as Abby entrusted her entire game, even her final 2 pass to Sam, and for Sam to completely stab her in the front, even telling her beforehand that he's actually not going to uphold the deal, even after she gave him the final 2 pass. Then you turned around and said, here, Sam, I'm going to do the same thing and give you my entire game. I'm not even going to talk to Ryan or Rich about this. And thankfully, you did end up talking to Rich. But you entrusted Sam with your entire game and did the same thing.
To be fair, I didn't give him a final 2 pass. I didn't have one, which is why I had to. but also, so that day, I'm like, I hated to do it. But I'm like, I have to get Steven and Sam out. So I went to Steven first. I'm like, hey, any interest in getting Sam out? And Steven was pretty hesitant. He's like, no, I think we just go final 4, take out Rich. And I was like, all right, that's not going to work. So I guess I got to get Steven out. So I went to Sam, hey, how about getting Steven out? And he responded more open to it, and I do think he considered it. At least I'd like to think he did, but maybe not. But Ryan was
already told me that you had already tried to get me out first.
Yeah. So Ryan was also just not responsive that day. I think he was at work or something. So there was no, and Ryan didn't have a vote that round either since he won. So there wasn't much. If we had decided me, Sam, and Rich to get out Steven, then Ryan's shred wouldn't matter necessarily. Yeah. But that's where I was at. Where I was like, man, I got to get one of them out. Sam at least, you know, gave me more of a response than Steven did. But I had nothing to, you know, lose at that point.
You went out swinging for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a question for Rich and Abby. How did you cope for like a week without talking about the game with each other? I don't know how I wouldn't have done that if I was living with someone.
Oh, I mean, listen, let's just say there's been many nights where I'd come in the kitchen and I hear Abby smiling and laughing, and then I hear this British accent on the phone, and I just like roll my eyes and go back to the room. So it was,
Okay, he talked a lot to me about it.
I know. So
did the rest of the red team know that you guys were together?
Nope.
No. Nice.
What a reveal.
I meant to do it with song, but I panicked.
That's our thing.
Abby, while we're on you, let's go back to that final 8. Doug came to you. You and Rich were fighting. And then you go to Doug and basically call him out. Like, I know you're targeting me. You're turning my allies against me. And then you two actually have a real conversation. and come up with this deal of, hey, let's take out Greg altogether. And then if Greg gives you an extra access card, an extra key to the end game, then you give it to Doug.
And I'd give it to Steven.
Or yeah,
which
yeah.
would then go to
which you would've
Sam.
given-
Yeah.
yeah. And you seem to go along with it until Greg talked to you right before the elimination, and you just couldn't help yourself. Why though? Just why? You really couldn't face him in church?
Really bad. I thought he really wanted to work with me, and now I know his vote for me was just from a wheel, so he wasn't ever doing that. And so I was like, hard, real. I'm just getting soft in my old age. And I just was like, I was totally in, and he didn't say anything, so I was like, all right, Greg, guess you're out. And then last minute he did, and I was like, I don't know, maybe I can't trust this whole thing, and I just keep Greg in so I have more of an alliance when we go to individuals.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Well,
I do think that played into Sam not saving you the next round for sure.
Yeah, I think that definitely played into it. But let's do a thought experiment, shall we? Let's say you don't save Greg, that you and Rich and Steve had a plan to make you and Steve safe and Rich vulnerable, and then you'd save him and Greg would have gone. Let's say you had done that. Greg would then would have had to give the envelope to either, I think it was Sam at the time, or Steven, Sam or Steven, or to Rich. Let me double check my notes here because I'm getting shaking heads. So
I was only vulnerable the round of the key ceremony.
Yeah, that's this round.
Oh, is that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was Sam, Rich, and Greg who are vulnerable, and we're saying that Greg would have gone. No. Sorry, Sam, Rich, and Steve that were vulnerable. And we're saying that Greg would have gone home, which means that Greg would have had to give an envelope to either Steve, Rich, or Sam. And he's not here to say, but I think he would have given it to Rich. He knows Rich in person. He did want to play with Abby and Rich, and was, I think, trying to figure out how to swing back over to working with you guys. So he potentially gives that envelope to Rich. If that happens, Abby, Rich, and Steve now have keys, and Steven, Doug, and Ryan all have keys. Sam gets eliminated there, falling on his sword, which was the last resort plan. And now all of a sudden the final six is 3 reds versus 3 blues. Even if you had lost that challenge, then Steve likely would have gone after that. And you're in the final 5 with the both of you still. And the game is very different at that point.
Really? Rich. Sorry. Did Greg know you guys were a couple, or did you sit on other sides of the church?
Yeah, no.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were like.
Okay, so some people knew. Okay.
Yeah, so
From the very
I wonder
beginning.
if like for the last 2 years you'd be like sitting up on the side of the church and not talking to each other, just in preparation for this game.
We got to play the long game.
So just to summarize that, Abby, you chose to save Greg, which kept him one more round before being eliminated by not having a key. And instead, you lost both Greg and Steve.
Mm-hmm.
It was sad. It was not a good day.
Yeah, and because once you got down to 2, even if you had won or lost, it's easy to pick one or both of you off, and they could easily choose who would end up getting eliminated at that point. If you had the 3 of you, even if one of you won, then that person that won is saving the other 2, not shredding either of you, and picking off one of the other people. And it ended up being that the blue people ended up winning, but maybe Steve wins that challenge, and it's a completely different game. The red people end up dominating the end game there.
And if Sam goes, then I realized Steven's lying to me, and that could have changed the whole thing too.
Right.
So,
and then you would have had trust with Abby because you worked together on that round.
Yeah. Huh.
So all right. Last few things here I have a couple questions for Greg, but he's not here. last few things. Sam, I really want to applaud you for your social game. Kim, do you want to dig into this?
I mean, I will just say that Sam is a really, really impressive liar when he needs to be. I was on a call with him and Rich, and he legit turned his camera on just to lie to Rich so Rich could see his face. The final 5 round, Sam was an absolute genius, manipulating every single person in the game, gaslighting where he needed to. Like it was textbook, exactly what you want to see in a fantastic player in these games. Yeah. And then
was
again,
anybody else making calls? Is it just Sam?
I mean, Sam was on calls all the time. He was bouncing back and forth between Steven and then Ryan. And when he was talking to anybody, he's messaging Steven every single detail of these calls. I
know he's the only person that ever
impressive.
called me. I had a call with. Yeah.
And then the best part was in this last round, Sam's on a call with Rich, decides to come up with this plan of saying, I actually have both final 2 passes, which at the time he didn't actually have it, I don't think. But Rich didn't fall for it and actually got caught in a lie during the process of that call. He then jumps on a call with Ryan and says the exact same thing. I have both final 2 passes. It's going to work. Ryan seems to believe it and actually goes along with it, submits a vote for Steven. And then at the very last minute, Ryan changes his vote back to Rich. It was very, very impressive throughout the whole game.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, and even that, Ryan, you changed your vote literally, 5 minutes beforehand or something like that, within the last 12 minutes or 5 minutes, because Rich poked you one last time, which I didn't think he was going to do. He poked you one last time saying, here's everything again, just making sure we're good. Is that what changed it for you? Or were you already thinking, no, I can't go along with Sam here?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much what I said. And Steven, when I did tell you that, hey, I just switched my vote to you, I had just switched my vote to you. And then a couple of minutes later, switched it back again. Yeah, like I said earlier, I just felt like there was a better chance that if I left Steven in the game, Sam might take him instead of me, which turns out was true. And that if I betrayed Rich there, I'd probably lose Rich's vote in the final. And I also semi-jokingly and semi-seriously said in my confessional, Steven, that during your tower building video that I watched, that you skipped the song Shake It Off when it came on, and that was just unforgivable. And so I had to side against you there.
It's because he said it's my Alexa instead.
It was too literal. I was like, I can't have anything telling me to shake something on this hour. I'm struggling so much already. Like, no, I can't listen to Shake It Off. I have my hands like this already. That's funny.
Yeah, so I just looked
at
back.
Brandon's wedding, I ran onto the dance floor when that song came on.
So I just looked back. You submitted that vote with 8 minutes left to go before the finale started. If the finale had started 10 minutes earlier, Steven and Sam would have been our final 2, which is just kind of wild.
Yeah.
All right. And even going back to
So
Sam.
close.
So we were talking, oh, go ahead, Doug.
I just said so close.
Yeah. And Sam, even in that final 4, Ryan ended up giving you the power, the safety and the shred power, because you had already been working on Ryan for a few rounds there. And Steven, it seemed like you kind of sat back in your relationship with Ryan. Do you feel like that's true? Or yeah, do you have thoughts on your relationship with Ryan in the end game there? It seemed like you kind of sat back on it, whereas Sam really kind of dived in and really tried to solidify his relationship with Ryan more.
Oh, me. Yeah, I kind of just flashed back because I knew Ryan had already said my name a couple of times, and I felt like we had a good talk. Well, like texting. I didn't really talk like Doug mentioned. I didn't voice chat with anyone except Sam, honestly. And so we had a good talk and clear some of the air, but I felt like I was constantly the one reaching out to Ryan for the majority of the time. And way back at the beginning, I had talked to Louise, and I said, "Hey, because she said he's a great ally, and he is, but I kept pulling. I felt like I was pulling and trying to talk anything or get anything out of him strategy, and there was one time I specifically asked him, and he said, "Well, I don't know. Let's just hope we win instead." And I was like, "Oh, okay." When I was asking about like changing, and I was like, "Okay, this guy's not going to work with me for that." And then so it just kind of, I felt it was just kind of a lost cause, and I knew Sam had already built a strong relationship, so I felt like if I would have done a lot of behavioral changes, he would know something's up. If I kind of switched gears all of a sudden, he'd be like, Stevens doesn't talk to me like this too much strategy wise. And if I started to do that right then and there, I would be playing too hard. And he was already kind of on to me with Rich. So I didn't want to switch the MO.
I just want to say, I really, really enjoyed getting to know Ryan, and we had lots and lots of chats about things other than game. And that was all completely genuine. And I really appreciate the friendship that we built up throughout the game. Yours was definitely some of my favorite calls I had. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have one last fun fact here. Throughout the game, at the beginning of the game, we theoretically gave you all access cards. In my head, I imagine that we kind of put your name on it, but it's covered with black tape. And at the end of the game, I like to rip off that black tape and see whose access card made it to the end. Interestingly enough, Rich in the final four had Turner's access card, and that was the last one to get shredded. So Turner, you were the first one out, but your card somehow still made it all the way to the final four. But in the end, Ryan was eliminated with Stevens' access card, and Rich had Sam's access card in the final two. But Sam won the game with Louise's access card. Louise, how does that feel?
I don't know. It's interesting.
In a way, your access card gave Sam the win.
I mean, I understand why Sam made the choices he did, and he played very well, so I'm happy for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. With that, is there any other questions lingering from those of you that are here? It's already late, but
I'll just say it's funny to notice, even at the very end, blue and red voted for each other for the final vote. So that never really changed the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
True.
It was close, though. A lot closer than the challenges were throughout the season, unfortunately. All right. If there's no other questions, then once again, I just want to say congratulations, Sam. Do you have any final words of like what your thoughts on the game were, or what kind of helped you win?
First things first, when do I get my crown and sash?
We'll see about that.
But no, I've had an absolute blast this game. The last couple of rounds in particular have been so thrilling. I was absolutely buzzing. Final 6 with Abby was tough, but the final 5 and 4 with all the gameplay and talking to people and trying to get people to do my bidding and stuff, it was so thrilling. I was like, if I go out here, I've had the best time, because it was just so exciting. No, I met some awesome people I would love to stay in touch with. So if you guys got Facebook and stuff, message me. I would love to get to know you more and continue chatting and stuff, because I've made some good friends here. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I want to thank you all. Thank you, cast, for such a great season of Access. Honestly, it was so much fun to watch you all play, and you all fought hard. Even as some of you were still learning how to play, you all did great, and this is one of my favorite seasons of the game so far. Thank you, Cam and Pete, for all your help in running this game and designing everything. Couldn't have done this without you guys. And thank you, everyone that's watching. If you would like to play Access in the future, we might do more of this. So if this seems fun to you, then let us know either in the comments or email us at accessthegame.info@gmail.com. Again, that's accessthegame.info@gmail.com. I would love to deny your access. And with that, good night, everyone.